Mashers, and welcome back to the Weekly Mash, your go-to stop for author chats, stories, sneak peeks, and the occasional unhinged question. It's funny because we were just talking with our last author about how when we do our introduction, that there's always one word that we always get hung up on. Always.
Yes,
And that's
always.
mine.
Always.
Today we're diving deep into the shadows. Oh man, I already forgot how to pronounce it. Your name.
Nadija.
See, I was gonna say that too. Gosh dang it. Author of the FBI Agent Adams series, a gritty, emotional crime thriller inspired by true events. Oh my gosh. So here's the hook that we got. A girl goes missing in 1986. The case goes cold, but years later, a new disappearance reopens everything. And what Agent Adams finds could lead straight back to the girl who vanished decades ago. Man, I'm already spiraling in it, and I haven't even read it yet, and I haven't even, we haven't even talked that long. And
yeah,
I'm already
completely
so excited.
agree.
Yeah. So this is book 3, correct?
No, this is book 1. So the first thread is book 1. And then the Crimson Knot is book 2. And the final stitch came out August 1st, so 2 days ago. So as of 2 days ago, so this trilogy is all complete, all done.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
What an accomplishment.
Yeah,
Very
this is
cool.
awesome. Do you want to jump into a quick introduction? Introduce yourself, tell us about the trilogy, and...
Sure, absolutely. So my name is Nadija Mujagic. So I'm an author of several psychological and crime thrillers. So the most recent releases were, like you mentioned, the FBI Agent Adams series. So I actually watched this documentary recently, and I thought, the true story was absolutely crazy and bizarre. So I just decided to sort of dive in and try to write about it, because it was just so strange and bizarre. So I reached out to one of my readers and I said, well, do you think I could pull this off? Because I've never done such a thing. And, I thought it would be very, very difficult given how complicated and complex the story really was. So it's about a serial killer who was active in the 80s and the 90s in the United States, and he was a cross-dressing cannibal. And so so he did abduct, I shouldn't really do any spoilers, but in book one, so the book 1 explores sort of his background, his childhood, how he grew up and how his brothers were and how his parents really raised them. So both of his parents were alcoholics, and they treated him very poorly. All of the brothers, as a matter of fact. And so I don't want to give out spoilers, but it's almost necessary. But the bizarre thing about this is that there are 2 brothers that ended up being serial killers, and the third brother, I think he turned out fine, but I kind of questioned that, So I wanted to explore, while I wrote, what really happened, or how, serial killers, are they really born, or, what happens in the process of growing up and such. So yeah, the first book is just an introductory about, the serial killer. And then a 6-year-old disappears from her front yard. She was she was in the kiddie pool and she disappears. And so Agent Adams, who is also based on a true or a real person, she tries to find her and she doesn't. And so the book 2, there's a disappearance of, so this goes back 6 years later, a disappearance of a young woman who had just graduated from Harvard. She comes home and all of a sudden she disappears. So, they finally discovered that she was murdered and buried somewhere between 2 churches or whatever. And so Agent Adams ties that case to the case of a young girl who was abducted and killed 6 years prior. And so, so none of that would have come to surface. I guess some of the things that were discovered was in jail, because the serial killer thought that his cellmate was Jesus. And so he started confessing to him. And that was the craziest part of the whole thing. Because So I sort of wanted to, that was just too bizarre and I just couldn't help it. I told myself I really have to write about this. So yeah, I reached out to one of my readers and I told her about this documentary, how crazy it was, and I asked her, like, what do you think? This will be sort of like a story based on true events. Do you think I should do it? And she was like, yes, do it, do it, do it, do it. So I did it. So usually it takes me about a couple of months to write like a standalone novel. I write about 1,000 to 2,000 words a day, when I really have an outline, and I just sit down every day and I so like the first draft takes me about 2 months, but this series, which was about in total, I would say about 130,000 words, which is not that much, right? Took me about 9 months because I had to do a lot of research.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be as authentic as possible, and I wanted to respect, all the sort of like victims of these crimes, and it's a very, very ultimately, so yeah, it took me a long time to write it, but I'm ultimately happy I did.
Excited. When I first got back into reading, I did a lot of reading like of the true crimes and like the based on true stories, and I loved it. But then, kind of like right now, I get those like nervous butterflies in my stomach, and I can't do that all the time. So like I have a
Yeah.
shelf of like thriller true crimes, and those are like my palate cleansers for when I really want to feel something like deep. Because yeah,
and I think I got a good feedback on the series. Like you said, like people were feeling all sorts of feelings, especially the third book, because ultimately, again, I don't want to do any spoilers, but it sort of ties everything together.
yeah.
And, it's just very, very emotional. So,
Oh
and
man,
then,
I love
people,
books like this.
so at the end of book 3, I actually do include author's note explaining the background and revealing all the, real names of the victims and the serial killer. And a lot of people actually moved on to watch the documentary, because they wanted to see
imagine
what he looks like. And then I hear like, oh my God, I was like so scared when I saw him. Like, he looks like a really scary fucker. Sorry. But like,
That's like
yeah,
that's the only word you can say is that would match it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Oh my God, he just looks really, really scary. So yeah, anyway, so I think this is the heaviest thing I've ever written, and prior to that, I actually wrote this more like a popcorn thriller, psychological thriller, which is called The Uninvited.
Ooh.
Oh, I
I
think I've
think I've
actually
seen that on
seen
your
that one
TikTok.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. I post it on TikTok all the time, advertising it. Although I still need to figure out how TikTok works.
You're
But
doing a
Me
great
too.
job.
No worries.
yeah, so The Uninvited is just like a fun little book, There's nothing deep about it. And for me as a writer, I really need these breaks between like this heavy stuff that I usually write. Most of my books are dark and heavy, and they explore sort of like human psyche and deepest and darkest corners of mine.
Wow.
So yeah, so The Uninvited is like, yeah. But it seems to be the most popular one, interestingly. So
I think that one is actually on my Goodreads of ones that I like. Like before, I think I even found you. I think that it was on my Goodreads to read.
oh, how
So
That
cool.
might be where I
Yeah.
saw it before. It was on your Goodreads.
probably.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I think that was how I found you. Was I was going through and liking or following authors that were like on my Goodreads that I wasn't following yet, and I think that's how.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
Cool. What a small world.
I know, right?
I know, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So cool.
It's crazy. So if we're looking at the heart of the series, you mentioned Agent Adams. For readers that are meeting her for the first time, how would you describe her both as an agent and as a person?
As an agent, and if you see her, the real person, or the person who Agent Adams was based on, I think she's very tough. She's thoughtful. She's methodical. But I know nothing about her personal life in real life. So a lot of the stuff that I actually wrote about her personal life in the series is all made up. So she's a single mom. She has like a daughter, and she needs to raise her daughter like all by herself, and it's not a small task while you're trying to like make a name in the FBI.
Mhm.
So she's like very vulnerable. And you may know that the 70s and the 80s were the worst decades as far as missing children.
Mm-hmm.
It was so bad. Like millions of children were missing like each decade. And some, like a lot of them had ended up like being just cold cases, that they were never like found or.
Yeah.
So I portrayed her as someone like vulnerable and fearful for her daughter, that the same thing
Mhm.
might happen to her. So I tried to make her as human as possible. She's not just an agent, but she's also a single mother. She's
Yeah.
also like, she's got fears. She's got, all of that. So like Amber Alert didn't really come into the world until like mid 90s.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
when things like got a little better. But yeah, yeah, that's what she's like. Sorry,
You're
it's a
fine.
long.
Miranda
No,
and I,
perfect.
we say this almost on every video. Like when we sit down and like listen to authors, we're like, okay, yeah, keep going, because we're in it.
Tell us more.
We're
Tell
involved.
us
Yeah,
more.
no, you ask good questions. And I'm like, oh, this is so nice. I get to talk about my characters.
No, we're excited. Like we're whole
Yeah,
like
that's what we
100%
want.
excited and invested, and like you could sing us songs, and we could just sit here and listen for hours.
Cool.
Yeah.
Session 2, maybe.
Anytime anytime you want to come on, we'd love to have you. So the
Definitely.
first case you mentioned in the series is about a girl named Charlotte who vanished in 1986. What
Yes.
drew you to that starting point? And you mentioned that it's a real true story.
Yeah.
Why were you drawn to it all of a sudden?
Well, the whole story was sort of bizarre, at the fact that, none of that would have surfaced had it not been for this guy that he thought it was Jesus, his cellmate. So I thought that was the most bizarre aspect of the whole story. So really, so the first, all of the books actually center around like Jesus and his point of view, how he perceives the serial killer and all of the stories that he tells them. And so he's the listener, he's the active listener. He takes
Wow.
everything in, he keeps it inside until like there's a perfect opportunity to actually spill it out and tell the FBI what this guy said. So why was I drawn? Well, first of all, I feel bad for children, for missing children. I have a kid on my own. He's like 4.5.
Oh, cute.
So it's like I mean, but it's like a fear of every mother,
Yes.
missing children and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Um yeah, I just wanted to explore sort of like what happened and how it might have happened. So cool.
Very
I love it.
intriguing.
But yeah, it is. I know that it's. I'm sorry, I have a weird cough going on. I know it's definitely my fear. Like,
Mm-hmm.
ever since I had kids, like I'll hear a noise on the front porch, and I'm always like, somebody's breaking into my house to steal my kids. Not
Oh,
somebody's breaking in my house to like steal from me. Like they're always
yeah,
coming to get my kids. So
right.
it's
Yeah,
just the
yeah.
world we live in, though.
Mhm.
It's so sad.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Mhm.
So, without giving spoilers, what kind of emotional or thematic journey can readers expect across the across the series, especially when we're looking at book 3 having just been released?
So one of the readers has told me that she has felt all sorts of emotions: anger, fear, sadness. These are like all prime emotions, and totally believe her, because that's exactly what I was going for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know if this is a spoiler. I don't think it's a spoiler, but in book 3, they go out like to these like different burial sites to look for the bodies that he might have like buried.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in the car, driving like for 8 hours to the burial site, and all of a sudden he strikes her. He tries to kill her, and like that to me like was super scary, like hearing it in the documentary. So she
Yeah.
risked her life, for the victims, and it was just, I don't know. the story is just too crazy.
Yeah, I have goosebumps just by your description, not having seen the documentary or read the books, so I can imagine what it's like to actually dive into the story.
Yeah, I mean, I cried. I remember crying like especially when I was writing about Charlotte Mercer, or I'm not gonna reveal her real name, but I just my heart felt so heavy. I was like, oh my god, poor little girl. So yeah, very sad.
There's a book. What's it called? I just bought it. Such Quiet Girls. Have you heard of that one?
By Noelle Eiley.
Yeah, I'm so afraid to read it because I know that it's just gonna like terrorize me.
I know it's about children who were buried alive. It's like, oh my goodness, and it's based on a true story. Terrifying, terrifying. I
And of
mean,
course, I went and bought the book like as soon as I heard about it,
yeah,
and it's still sitting right there because I'm deathly afraid.
I know. I haven't read that one, but I've read other books by Noelle, and she's a great author.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Somebody just kept telling me how bad it was just gonna mess me up. And I'm like,
really?
oh, I've gotta have it. And now I'm like, why is it there? I've gotta read it.
Yeah, I think she has another book that's based on a true story.
I think so too. I don't remember what it is though.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm so bad with titles and names.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. All right, so we can relate.
We'll be like sitting here talking about a book about like
that book.
Yeah, well, I'll be like,
That
who was that
one.
author who wrote that one book? And Miranda's like, they were literally on our podcast, Ashley. I'm like, I know, but I can't remember. I can't remember anything.
So I just remember. So one of them is called None Left to Tell.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. See? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I'm terrible. This is why Miranda's the brains of the operation, because if it was just me, we'd be in trouble. Okay, so we're always fascinated by what makes a thriller stick with you. Like we were just talking, like royally just messing you up. What do you think sets Agent Adams series apart from the other crime thrillers?
I don't think it does. I mean, it's just another. There's so many books out there, right? And like, I tend to read like few a month because I just don't have time. I have a full-time job, like 9 to 5, and I have to take care of my kids, So I only read at bedtime, and I wish I could read more. I wish this were like my full-time job, like just reading and writing,
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I don't want to say that, it sets, my thrillers are like any more special than any other ones. It might be just, I honestly don't know. I can't answer that question.
That's okay, and that's a good answer because you're not saying that you're better than other authors because you're just in that same.
No, I think I'm just different. Everybody has their
Yeah.
own style. Everybody has, what they want to like reveal in a story. I've been told that this series have done very with lots of care and respect, which is something that I aim for, when I first started writing it. So because it is very heavy and deep, and it's just, if you read it, you'll see.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, like I said, it's not better. It's just maybe different,
Okay. Yeah, that's a great answer.
Thank you.
For any aspiring authors that might be listening, especially those that want to write thrillers, what is one thing that you've learned from writing the series that you wish you knew at the start?
Well, for one, like from the marketing perspective, I think a lot of authors do like rapid releases, which means you shouldn't be waiting like months and months and months between like releases between the books, So I actually had two books, the first two books completely written before I actually started writing book 3. And then all the releases sort of happened like 1 to 2 months in between the books. So I would say that's number one thing, because I think a lot of readers are sort of impatient, and they usually wait for all the books to be released until they read, so that's one thing to remember. So series can also like be very different, like books in a series can be very different from each other. they can follow like the main character, but like the stories are very distinct from each other, so that's another way to go about it. But for me, like all my books are sort of related to each other. So if you're to get the full story, you actually have to read the every single book, and you have to start like from book one.
Yeah.
So I think authors sort of have different styles as far as that. So yeah, I would say have at least 2 books written before you actually start publishing.
Yeah.
I tend to go over my drafts, like at least 2 to 3 times. I read it out loud sometimes. I read it multiple times to make sure that it flows well. I hate plot holes or plows. Oh my god. You kidding me? I hate
See,
hot
you're one of
plows
us
and I
now.
hate plot holes or whatever.
Yes.
So I read it like multiple times just to make sure that I'm not missing anything or I'm not contradicting myself in places. I had 4 alpha readers for this series, which means it's the people who read the very first draft of these books, and they tell me like, "Oh, this doesn't make any sense. Like, what were you thinking?" Then, based on their feedback, I revised it yet again, and then I sent it to my editor. So it's a very for me, it's a very long process, like getting these books in that shape. And so, as an indie author, though, it's difficult. It can be very, very difficult because, especially marketing, because we do everything, right? We do writing, editing, marketing, and then like you have sometimes you have readers who like take off stars because there's a typo on page 17, and that's just heartbreaking, disheartening. If people are listening to this podcast, it's like, please be kind to indie authors. It's really, really, really hard.
We always say that indie authors, I feel, now this is just a personal thing, I feel like indie authors are like the best because they have to put their heart and soul into the entire book, because it's their money, it's their time, it's their marketing, it's literally all you guys, and it's your name on it. There's no publishing company's name on it. So yeah, just like you said, if there's a typo, it's like, okay, so you guys are human and the editors are human.
I hate when those typos slip by, because I do so many revisions, but like that, we're human. We miss these things, So yeah. And in one of my books, the acknowledgement section, I just say that, as an indie author, I don't have an army of people doing stuff for me, like traditionally published authors. But I really enjoy what I do. And I've already started writing my next standalone. So hopefully I'll be doing this for the rest of my life. So yeah.
It's funny, speaking of like typos and stuff, Miranda and I got to read an arc. And this is how you know you're doing it right. We read an arc, and I think it was her debut, wasn't it, Miranda?
Yeah.
And we were so invested in this scene, but there was one typo. But Miranda and I did not care, and we didn't even tell her that there was a typo until we interviewed her. And we're like, oh yeah, just so you know, there was a typo right in that scene. And she goes, I'll have to go look. We're like, yeah, but we were so invested in that whole chapter that we didn't even care.
Yeah.
I don't
And that
care if
takes
there's
a lot
G.
for me. Normally I notice I could be breezing through a book and I'll notice typos. So the fact that I didn't notice it reading it means that
I didn't care.
It was pretty good.
Well, usually indie authors usually prefer that you contact them typo, as opposed to like putting it like in a public
Right.
place, Goodreads or blasted all over media. Trust me, I've seen that.
Well, and we built a huge relationship with this author before she came on, and we messaged her for a good 3 or 4 weeks before I think we even got the art. And so, and like, we still talk to her like almost every day. And it was funny because we were just so invested in the book. I'm like, because we had that relationship, we're sitting here talking about the one scene. And I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a typo in there. And she goes, oh, you should have messaged me. I said, well, I didn't care at the time. I don't. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
Right?
care in
It's time to
general
get to
because
the
I
next
still know
But
what's
part.
going
here's the
on.
thing. Yeah, you may not care, but like there are other people like out there who are gonna be like going crazy because of typo, you know. So any help that we get is like very, very, very appreciated. So
And Miranda and I, one thing I've told people is we could like absolutely not enjoy your book, not necessarily your book, but just in
yeah,
general.
that's fine if you don't.
Yeah, we could like not enjoy it at all, and we're
Uh-huh.
still gonna go on Goodreads or TikTok or whatever and tell everybody all the things that we loved about your book because we're one
Oh,
person. We're
oh,
like,
yeah.
that's not our name on there. That's your guys' name. We're just
Mhm.
one reader that
Yeah,
read the book. And
right,
so what if I didn't like it? Miranda may have loved it. So
right.
why does it
Yes, it's very
my
subjective.
yeah? Why
Mm-hmm.
is it my
Exactly.
word to tell you whether you're going to enjoy this book or not?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. I don't even understand why reviews exist, to be honest.
Right.
I wish they were. It's like, yeah, those
Yeah.
1-star reviews, whatever. You know, you just have to sort of like thick
Or they
skin
give
and,
you a
you
1 star and like their actual review is like nothing but good things. It's like, what sense does that make?
Did you click the wrong button?
I know. Well, there is a lady who gives like 5 stars for every single book that she reads, even if she doesn't like it. As she says in her
That's
review,
Miranda.
5 stars to me for finishing up this book. I'm like, oh my god, why can't everybody be like her?
Oh, nice with my stars.
Miranda's pretty nice. I don't give anything less than 4 stars very often. Like, it's
Mhm.
Yeah,
very,
me
very
too.
rare.
Yeah,
And
same
I
here.
think most of the time, like 3 stars for me is like I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like 5 stars is if like I absolutely loved it, devoured it, couldn't put it down. 4 stars is I loved it, but like I didn't like love it like I did a 5-star.
Right.
But I'm never gonna tell you what I didn't like about your book
Right.
because that's just my opinion. That's like making a steak. I may like my steak medium well. Miranda may like it well, and my daughter might like it rare. But
Right.
who's like,
Right.
why does it matter? Because that's how you want it. You're
Yeah.
not eating it. Then don't read the
You're
book.
funny.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get weird, like, especially like on TikTok. The people who go to your comments and are like being downright disrespectful and nasty and gross. Like, did you know that if your finger moves up on the screen, that you go to the next video?
Right.
You
I
don't
don't
need to sit
understand
there
that.
and tell people how to live or what they're doing wrong or
Right. Yeah, some people just have a hard time like being kind, and I don't know why.
People of the
Like,
world today.
we were always taught if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything. Whereas like
I know.
other people
I
not
know.
talking.
Have you not watched Bambi, people? Come on.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, life is hard as it is, right? It's like, why make it
Yeah,
harder?
why make it harder for someone else? Goodness.
Yeah.
Is that my turn or your turn? I think it's your turn.
I think it's my turn because we're closing out here. So,
Yeah.
Nadija, thank you so very much for sharing the world of Agent. See, I said ancient instead of agent. Agent Adams, who is not ancient. We loved
not
hearing how the story came together. We can't wait to jump into the series and get our thrill going.
Oh gosh,
Mashers, if you love a gripping cold case, emotionally grounded heroines, and stories that don't shy away from the darker corners of justice, then this series is going to be for you. You can start with book 1, and then remember that the 3rd installment just came out, so they're all 3 in the trilogy ready to go. We will have all of Nadija's stuff posted in the caption below so that you can grab socials and book links and everything you need to jump into that world. But until next time, keep reading, keep mashing it up, and we will see you next time.